A week or so ago, I brought you my first two reviews from the house I want to speak of again tonight, which is Sonoma Scent Studio. The creative director, perfumer at Sonoma Scent Studio is Lori Erickson, and she has just really done another amazing job with this fragrance that I want to talk about. It's really, really, really nice stuff, and I had to come and talk about it. Had to share it with you guys. Her samples come on these lovely little cards, which describe the fragrance. As you can tell, this fragrance is called Tabac Aurea. The card, I'll read it to you. It says Tabac Aurea. Men and women are smitten with this addictive blend of amber, woods, pipe tobacco, leather, patchouli, spices, and tonka bean. And let me tell you, that note breakdown speaks to my heart. That's the kind of scent that I love. So let me talk about it, and let me give you perhaps a more extensive, a slightly different note breakdown that I found on Fragrantica, and then I'll, as always, get into the body of the review. So the notes that I found in maybe a different place, Fragrantica, I think, is usually where I get them. The notes of Tabac Aurea include cedar, sandalwood, tobacco, leather, vetiver, patchouli, clove, tonka bean, labdanum absolute, amber, vanilla, and musk. In both my opinion and Lori's, the perfumer at Sonoma Scent Studio, this is what we would call a unisex perfume. It's I guess a bit rare to find a really good unisex tobacco, but this is one of them. Tabac Aurea opens up with this honey sweet, not sickeningly sweet, but sort of a nice, mild, honey sweet, resinous, blonde, young tobacco top that just pulls you through the entire maturation process of a tobacco leaf. So you start young, you start sweet, slightly green, a young tobacco leaf. And then the whole fragrance manages to take you through the whole life, sort of a maturation process, and then it's picked, it's dried, it becomes dusty, ambery, leathery, and just the whole arc of that life is reflected in the way this fragrance ages on your skin. She did the same thing, I think, with the fig in Fig Tree. Which takes you from a young, budding, green-smelling fig all the way through a fig that you would want to pick off a tree that's fat, luscious, sweet, but not sickeningly sweet. So it's very, very interesting how she does this. Unfortunately, I lack sort of the olfactory sophistication to express how you can do something like this in a perfume, but the knowledge that it takes to be able to fit every facet of something's, like I said, maturation process, lifespan, whatever you want to call it, into a perfume, whether it be the sweet synconium of a fig or a tobacco leaf, into a fragrance and have it smell so good is really a sign that Lori, I think, has found her true calling as a perfumer. To be honest, I found the sweetness pushing my limits a little bit. I like, if anyone who watches my channel knows, I have a natural aversion for anything that's too sweet. But Tabac Aurea is stunningly beautiful. There's something about the tonka. There's this tonka slathered amber in here that just turns a perfume that could have been very tired and uninspiring into almost something fresh and contemporary. It feels old in a new way. Of course, a tobacco amber is almost inevitably going to feel old in some ways, but it doesn't feel like an antique perfume. It feels like it's made for someone who's living in the 21st century. I think a lot of other perfumers would have amped up the sweetness or amped up the wood, ruining it for men or women wearers, respectively. The sweetness approaches that of a gourmand, but it falls just short, for which I'm very thankful. Tabac Aurea strikes the perfect balance between that sort of woody amber and the sweetness. As it dries down, it smells like a $100 Davidoff cigar. If you've ever had the pleasure of having, I mean, even, not a $100 one, even any one, they're just ambery and lush and dry and full of these delicious hay notes and spice notes. It dies, Tobacco Aurea does, on my skin several hours into the wearing as a resiny, musky tonka bean smell. Living in the Sonoma Valley of Northern California, it's quite clear that Lori's strength rests in her ability to work with the darkest notes. The ambers, woods, tobacco, leather, patchouli, that I was weaned on as someone who first became interested in perfumery. While my interests have started to branch out, they too remain rooted, so to speak, in the dark, earthy notes with which Lori works so carefully and so beautifully. I'm always looking to have my limits pushed when I experience new things to smell, and Lori has once again created something that deserves the attention of every tobacco lover. And I just wanted to end my review with something I kind of feel is the case. Tom Ford, move over. There's a new girl in town, and she knows her tobacco, and she's taking you to school. My review of Tabac Aurea, created by Lori Erickson of Sonoma Scent Studio. Bye, guys.